Happy Monday. Happy Monday. How is everybody? Did everybody have an incredible weekend? We had an incredible weekend. The weather was amazing all weekend. It was incredible. Hey Brenda. Hey sweet Brenda. How are you, dear? How are you? Did you have a good weekend, Brenda? Hey Sherry Jones. Hey Donnie. Just Donnie. Oh my goodness. Hey Kel. Good morning / afternoon. Hit the thumbs up on the way in, on your way in. Yes, please. Thank you. Sorry I was a few minutes late. I had coffee. Best thing ever. Happy Monday to you. Yeah, it was great. We had a great weekend. Dale did a lot of like outdoor stuff, cutting down lots of tall overgrowth stuff, and me and kiddo spent a lot of time outside. So she had a good time. She had a good time playing outside. Well, I'm glad that you had a great weekend. Good. All right. So, again, no Karen Reed today. I couldn't do it. I looked in on court this morning and I saw it was DNA experts and more forensic experts, and I just couldn't be bothered. I couldn't be bothered. You guys, I'm sorry. But I did want to come on and talk about these two little kiddos, Lilly and Jack Sullivan. So I've been watching them, this case, for a little while now. And I know I told you guys that I really wanted to get into it and look at it and see, talk about it with you guys, because I know some of you have been following it as well. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for today. My hair is just all everywhere. Anyway, I stumbled upon some things that I wanted to share, especially something that I don't even know that he's the stepdad. They're not married, but he considers himself the kid's stepdad. His name is Daniel Martell, but I think he's just like basically stepped in as the stepdad role because him and the mom have been together for quite a while. Brenda said the guy in there now is getting ripped for misrepresenting himself. He's totally right. I saw that. I checked in again just a few minutes ago, and it looked like Alessi was reading him the riot act for not having his credentials listed right or something. I don't know. Hey, Margaret, good to see you, ma'am. I'm here I am. Rock me like a hurricane. So, anyway, there was something that the stepdad, I'm just going to call him the stepdad, had said. There's a lot of things that he said that I'm kind of like, now I'm not going to say, first and foremost, let me just say, little disclaimer here, anything that is said here is alleged speculation, theorizing. My opinions, I guess you could say. I don't know that I fully believe that the mom or stepdad had anything to do with the disappearance of these two kiddos. but I'm also not sold that they didn't. So, they still haven't been found. These two little kiddos, Jack and Lilly, have been missing since, hold on, let me show you their picture up close and personal because they're beautiful little babies. Look how beautiful they are. Oh my gosh. They're gorgeous kids, man. So, anyway, they are, again, in Nova Scotia. Okay? That's where this family is from. And they've been missing. These two little kiddos have been missing since May the 2nd. So, there have been hundreds, over 100 people searching for these kids. And I know they're precious, Brenda, right? Her name is Lilly. She's 6. And his name is Jack, and he's 4. So, but I found a video from, where is this from? CBC News, Nova Scotia. And they give a little bit of a breakdown. The video is called Everything We Know About the Search for Lilly and Jack. This news source has been following this case pretty much from day one. So I do want to put this link into the chat so that I can give full credit for this. Video credit. Scotia. Okay. And let me share the nope, I don't want that. I want to present and share my screen here. All right. Here we go. All right, you guys. Look how sweet. This is killing me because my little kiddo, I think there's another reason why it's, close to my heart is because my kiddo is 6 and she's graduating kindergarten. And so this is tough stuff, But I'm going to play this video. I may start and stop with just a little bit of commentary here and there before we get into some of the things that the stepdad has said, I guess, because this is just kind of a little brief synopsis, a little brief summary of the story in case you're not familiar. So here we go.
It's been 2 weeks since 2 young children vanished without a trace in rural Nova Scotia. Here's everything we know about what's happened since their disappearance. Around 10 a.m. on the morning of May 2nd, 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing from their home on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne Station. The children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, told CBC the siblings were out sick and not at school on Thursday and Friday. He said he believed the children must have gone outside through the sliding back door sometime Friday morning.
When we noticed that the children were gone, immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there.
Nova Scotia RCMP said they believed the children wandered away from their home and there was no evidence of abduction. That morning, a vulnerable missing person advisory was issued in Pictou County, and the organized search for the kids began in the heavily wooded area surrounding the family home.
So you can see where they live is very rural, very country, very woodsy, and you could see their home And literally the camera panned to the right and you could see the vast woods, like right there, right? So it's not like there's a lot of like houses in between, not a lot of neighbors, that sort of thing.
Volunteers searched through the night. More than 100 people were called in to help. Helicopters, drones, and police dogs were also part of the search. On Saturday, May 3rd, officials were optimistic the children would be found.
It's a huge wooded area with lots of potential. So we're just keeping all avenues open and ensuring we're covering off the entire area with a very structured search.
Around 5:30 that night, RCMP issued a wider alert to Pictou County and surrounding areas. On Saturday, the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, spoke to CTV News. She said she was hopeful and that she just wanted the kids home. The search continued on Sunday, May 4th. The children's stepfather said he wanted authorities to monitor the New Brunswick border and nearby airports in case the children were abducted. Meanwhile, 160 searchers were out looking for the children despite rainy conditions. On Monday, May 5th, police and rescue agencies continued searching, going at all hours. RCMP said searchers had located what could have been a footprint on Saturday and expanded the search effort in that area. That night, 4 drones with thermal imaging technology were used to look for heat signatures in the woods. Tuesday, May 6th marked 5 days since the children went missing. A Nova Scotia RCMP spokesperson said in an update that the case remained a missing persons investigation.
Police are pursuing all investigative avenues, and there's a variety of teams involved who are applying the tools and the skills and the expertise needed to locate and bring Lilly and Jack home.
McCann wouldn't say if there had been any sign of the children. The children's stepfather told CBC that after the disappearance, the children's mother left the area to be with her family in another part of the province and blocked him on social media.
My mother had to kick some people off the property because they were saying that I did it. I had something to do with it. And I'm the only one here fighting for them, which is sad.
The children's maternal grandmother told the Canadian press the family was hoping and praying for the children to come home. On Wednesday, May 7th, Nova Scotia RCMP announced it would scale back the search for the missing kids.
We're not packing up, and we're not giving up. Our investigation is broad, and it won't end until we know where Lilly and Jack are and can bring them home.
McKinnon said there hadn't been any confirmed sightings of the children, and survivability was unlikely.
If we thought they were alive right now, we'd still be out there.
He said the searchers covered a 5.5 square kilometer area, roughly the size of Halifax's downtown, that was heavily wooded.
I'm absolutely exhausted at this point after going through 6 days of virtual hell. It's absolutely crazy.
On Thursday, May 8th, the RCMP packed up its command center in Lansdowne Station and searchers left the area. Martell told CBC he spoke with investigators from the Major Crime Unit in Stellarton earlier in the week. He said he willingly handed over his phone to police and investigators searched the home. Martell said he also asked for a polygraph test.
I just want to clear it up for everyone, not just the people online making crazy accusations and everything else.
RCMP declined to say whether a polygraph would be administered. Meanwhile, a makeshift memorial was set up at the nearby Stellarton RCMP detachment.
In a news release on Tuesday, May 13th, Nova Scotia RCMP said they were continuing to investigate. Police said they were following up on more than 180 tips from the public and had identified 35 people to interview, including community members and those closest to the children. Police also confirmed that an underwater team searched lakes in the area but didn't find anything.
On Thursday, May 15th, RCMP confirmed again that there's been no evidence to suggest the children were abducted. 2 weeks later, on Friday, May 16th, there are still no answers as to what happened to Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Cassidy Chisholm, CBC News, Halifax.
So, lots of different things going on with this case. You heard him talk about the mom, how the mom blocked him on social media and left. And I've heard a lot of people asking the question, you know, why would the mom leave the area where her kids disappeared from? So, you know, people are side-eyeing mom. There's been speculation about, because the mom and the stepdad together have an 18-month-old daughter. And people are speculating whether or not that child was taken into like protective custody after this incident. There's been a lot of like rumors floating around, and I don't really, want to get into that kind of stuff. I just kind of want to go through what we see on its face. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Patricia, good to see you, dear. How are you? I hope you had a good weekend. I'm sad you couldn't join us Friday night, Patricia. So I want to go back through this one more time now that you guys kind of watched it all at once. I kind of want to go back and break it through a little bit by bit.
It's been 2 weeks since 2 young children vanished without a trace in rural Nova Scotia. Here's everything we know about what's happened since their disappearance.
Okay, so Friday, May 2nd is when they disappeared. Okay. They say that they went, mom and stepdad were in the bed. There's time, they're not given times, like they're given alternate, like different times. Like once they're saying that the kids went missing, they think around 8 o'clock in the morning. The next time they say it's like 10 in the morning. But mom and stepdad were in the bed. But then again, the mom says that she's feeding the 18-month-old baby. There's just, the story keeps evolving, and at some point you hear the stepdad say, we could hear the kids. Then they couldn't hear the kids. And it's just, so much back and forth. And it's kind of hard to make an opinion whenever, there's so much mixed details, I guess. I'm sad about it too. My husband dragged me out to a sporting event. I've been catching up on the replay. Okay, good deal. All right, so they supposedly went out the back sliding glass door. And they say that the door can't be heard, that the door is pretty silent when it's open and shut. And I've seen people say, if you look at the place where they live, it's an older mobile home, and anything in an older mobile home is not quiet. Right? I'm not throwing shade, y'all. I lived in an old mobile home. That was my very first, when my husband and I got married, our first home together was a little teeny tiny single wide trailer that was built in the 1960s. Okay. So I know what it's like to live in an old trailer. So I'm not throwing shade over that. But I will say that nothing in an older trailer is going to be quiet, especially a sliding glass door. So.
Around 10 a.m. on the morning of May 2nd, 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing from their home on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne Station.
So you can see here, this is the back of the trailer. Okay? And you can see the trailer right here. Let me make sure you can see. Can you see my mouse hovering? Yeah, okay. So right here is the back porch. And you can see there's the sliding glass door. Okay? That's where the kiddos supposedly snuck out. So.
The children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, told CBC the siblings were out sick and not at school on Thursday and Friday. He said he believed the children must have gone outside through the sliding back door sometime Friday morning.
Also, yeah, they had been out sick. And then there was also supposedly a day off, like a scheduled on the calendar day off or some sort of a holiday or something in Canada. And so the kids hadn't been to school since, I think that the bus driver said that he last saw them and he dropped them off on Tuesday. And I think they were off like Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday maybe was the scheduled day off or something. Not positive for sure, but something like that. And so a lot of people are wondering and speculating, did the kids actually go missing on the morning of May 2nd? Or did they go missing prior to that? Because there was, they were out of school. There would have been no one to confirm their last seen, last known date of being seen. You know what I mean? I don't know.
When we noticed that the children were gone, immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there.
Nova Scotia RCMP said they believed the children wandered away from their home and there was no evidence of abduction. That morning, a vulnerable missing person advisory was issued in Pictou County, and the organized search for the kids began in the heavily wooded area surrounding the family home.
Look how dense that is, just feet from their home, right? I mean, you can see they've got a nice little path there, but you can tell that's a heavily wooded area right next to their house.
Volunteers searched through the night. More than 100 people were called in to help. Helicopters, drones, and police dogs were also part of the search. On Saturday, May 3rd, officials were optimistic the children would be found.
It's a huge wooded area with lots of potential. So we're just keeping all avenues open and ensuring we're covering off the entire area with a very structured search.
Around 5:30 that night, RCMP issued a wider alert to Pictou County and surrounding areas. On Saturday, the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray.
Now, this is the mama. This is the baby mama. There was a brief interview with her. And I can find that and we can watch that here in a minute because we're going to see some interviews with the stepdad too. But apparently, according to some different things that I've read and seen, allegedly, she and her family felt like he had something to do with the kid's disappearance. And they got into it, and they live on the property that they live on, I think is owned or partially owned by his family. And his mother, I guess, he says his mother threw some people off the property for blaming him for this incident. So I think maybe they, made her leave, allegedly. I don't know. But I've also heard some people say something about she went to stay at a reservation. And some people were wondering, well, did she do that because she would be protected there? I don't know what her, I don't know what's the word. I don't know what, what is the word I want to use? Somebody help me out. I read what it was, but I can't remember what it said. Her like ethnicity is or whatever. But if anybody knows in the chat what the like indigenous labels, I don't know what the best word is to use for that, but you know what it is in that part of Canada, maybe you can fill me in, because I don't really know about that.
Murray spoke to CTV News. She said she was hopeful and that she just wanted the kids home. The search continued on Sunday, May 4th. The children's stepfather said he wanted authorities to monitor the New Brunswick border and nearby airports in case the children were abducted. Meanwhile, 160 searchers were out looking for the children despite rainy conditions.
The stepdad also keeps going on and on and on and on and on. About, hey, wean baby. Well, we're kind of doing that. Yeah, we're kind of doing that right now. Going over the beginnings of it alls. Let me see what, hold on, let me go Google it real quick. Her name is Malaya Brooks Murray. I'm not seeing it. I could probably find it if I dug a little bit deeper, but yeah, I'm not positive exactly. Oh wait, BRB. Okay, Wing Baby. Hold on, I have to get some paper towel because my nose is running. Don't you just love pollen and all the springtime things that, you know, fun stuff. All right. Here we go.
On Monday, May 5th, police and rescue agencies continued searching, going at all hours. RCMP said searchers had located what could have been a footprint on Saturday and expanded the search effort in that area. That night, 4 drones with thermal imaging technology were used to look for heat signatures in the woods. Tuesday, May 6th marked 5 days since the children went missing. A Nova Scotia RCMP spokesperson said in an update that the case remained a missing persons investigation.
Police are pursuing all investigative avenues, and there's a variety of teams involved who are applying the tools and the skills and the expertise needed to locate and bring Lilly and Jack home.
McCann wouldn't say if there had been any sign of the children. The children's stepfather told CBC that after the disappearance, the children's mother left the area to be with her family.
Look how dense that is. Look, I mean, that's the property, right? That's the property that they live on, that these kiddos went missing from. Look at all of that.
Province and blocked him on social media.
My mother had to kick.
Another part BC that after say if there had been any sign of the children. The children's stepfather told CBC that after the disappearance, the children's mother left the area to be with her family in another part of the province and blocked him on social media.
My mother had to kick some people off the property because they were saying that I did it. I had something to do.
Now, a lot of people have been saying, what's that scratch on his face? You see that scratch under his eye? I mean, that could be nothing. It could be the fact that he was searching through the woods and got stuck in the face by a briar bush. You know, I wouldn't be able to find my way out of there either, Brenda. That's a lot of woods. And that's really a lot of woods when you're talking about a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Do with it. And I'm the only one here fighting for them, which is sad.
The children's maternal grandmother told the Canadian press the family was hoping and praying for the children to come home. On Wednesday, May 7th, Nova Scotia RCMP announced it would scale back the search for the missing kids.
We're not packing up, and we're not giving up. Our investigation is broad, and it won't end until we know where Lilly and Jack are and can bring them home.
McKinnon said there hadn't been any confirmed sightings of the children, and survivability was unlikely.
If we thought they were alive right now, we'd still be out there.
He said the searchers covered a 5.5 square
God,
kilometer.
look at that. That is their property. And look. Do you see another house? I mean, it looks like there might be another house over here, unless that's like a water source. I don't know. Way over there to the top right, where my mouse is hovering. I don't know. I mean, but that, here you have this property. I mean, this does look like a highway. It's not like a rural road. It don't look like. I mean, it looks like a highway. I don't know if it is, but still, I mean, good gracious. It don't look like there's anybody around them for forever.
Area, roughly the size of Halifax's downtown, that was heavily wooded.
I'm absolutely exhausted at this point after going through 6 days of virtual hell. It's absolutely crazy.
On Thursday, May 8th, the RCMP packed up its command center in Lansdowne Station and searchers left the area. Martell told CBC he spoke with investigators from the Major Crime Unit in Stellarton earlier in the week. He said he willingly handed over his phone to police and investigators searched the home. Martell said he also asked for a polygraph test.
I just want to clear it up for everyone. Clear it up for everyone, not just the people online making crazy accusations and everything else.
RCMP declined to say whether a polygraph would be administered. Meanwhile, a makeshift memorial was set up at the nearby Stellarton RCMP detachment.
In a news release on Tuesday, May 13th,
Oh, okay. This is Ween Baby. I was like, wait a minute. Grace Sprunky. That's cute. So, she says, this is insane. Isn't there some survival guy who can help? Well, I mean, they've had a lot of searchers helping. I know that there was someone who had to be taken out by ambulance while they were searching because they were having chest pains or muscle cramps or something. So I know that, the searchers have to be exhausted because that's not easy territory to walk through, right? She said, I thought I had a monthly thing, but I guess I don't. You did, but it was on another account that you had. Can't remember what the name of that account was. But it wasn't on the Ween Baby account, I don't think. Yeah. What's the name of the other one you were using in here every once in a while? It was something very random. I don't know, Ween Baby. I don't know.
Nova Scotia RCMP said they were continuing to investigate. Police said they were following up on more than 180 tips from the public and had identified 35 people to interview, including community members and those closest to the children.
So I'm wondering who those 35 people are. I'm sure a lot of them's family and friends and people that live as close to them as, like the closest people living next to them. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that they interviewed the bus driver because he said that he had dropped them off on Tuesday from school. There was Bub Smith, and I changed it to Ween Baby, then he changed it to this. Okay. Gotcha. Cute. All right. So let me go see if I can find the mama's interview. And Lilly Sullivan. Mom interview. La 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 la. La 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 la. I'm gonna have to go to see if I can find it on YouTube real quick. Give me just a second, folks. And we only hear from her that one time, too. That's another weird thing about it. Like, that's it. We heard from her the one time, and then she supposedly changed her, like, relationship status to single on Facebook, and then ended up deleting her Facebook, and then reinstated it, and, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about the mom situation, but eesh. Hold on, I'm still looking. Excuse me. Excuse me. Here's something. Let me see if this will work.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them.
Okay, let me share this tab real quick. Oh, okay, there you are. Yay, okay, BRB. Figured out the Ween Baby account that I use as a brand account. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Same thing happened to Miss King. Okay, so let me play this one real quick. This is the mom's interview. This is just a brief snippet. I think this video is only like 24 seconds long, but you get the like vast majority of what basically this is pretty much all she says. So we'll play it.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home.
RCMP say there is still no sign of two siblings who are believed to have wandered away from their home in Pictou County. They were last seen around 10 a.m. on Friday in the community of Lansdowne Station.
Now, there is a longer one because I remember she says something about she gives some details. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Trying to find it from an actual news source and not another like YouTube creator, you know. Most of the interviews you see are with the stepdad. Ugh. Hold on, folks. I didn't think to have this one keyed up ready to go because I wasn't necessarily going to talk about the mom, but now I want to talk about the mom. Yeah, I saw that too, Ween Baby, about the undiagnosed autism. I heard that they had been assessed and they said that they didn't believe that they had autism, but they're still saying, people are still saying that. So I don't know, you know, what the deal is, whether they actually have autism or not. To be honest, I don't know. Okay, I can't. I'll find it, but I have to like really. If I could just get through. Not having any luck. But there is a YouTube creator. This dude has this YouTube channel. And I know I've heard QB and a few other people talk about him before. And he's really good. But it's been a while since I watched him. However, he did do some videos on this case. And the guy's channel is Never a Truer Word. Okay? And what he does is he takes takes what people say and sort of, it's kind of like a behavior analysis person, but it's with people's words, right? What they say. And, I'm going to share this. Yeah, this one's it. All right. And now you can see it. Okay. Let me get a swig of coffee and we'll get started with this because this is very interesting. Very interesting. Lord, I just dripped coffee all down my chin, down my shirt. Sorry. Okay. So, let me make this bigger. Okay. I'm going to put this guy's, I spilled it, Margaret. Stop it. Don't you act like I do that all the time. Look at this, you guys. Look what Margaret is doing. She says, what did you just do? What happened with your coffee? I spilled it. I didn't spill coffee until I ran into you, Margaret. Jumped it all down the front of you, hey? Yep, I did. Stop it. Glass houses, Margaret. Wait a minute. Are you on my side or are you on her side, Patricia? Who's throwing the rocks, me or Margaret? Okay, let me put this link in here for full credit. Never a truer word. All right. So I want to put this here. You guys go follow this dude if you like him and kind of vibe the things that he says. We'll go through a little bit of it, not all of it, but there's some really good stuff in here. And one thing in particular I want to share, and it's the reason why I put what I did on the thumbnail. The thumbnail said something like, screamed as hard as I could screamed as hard as I can until my throat hurts, or something like that. And there's something about that. When I heard him say that, I had seen something the day before, and I was like putting pieces together, and I was like, ooh. Hey, Cherie, thanks for leaving your DNA on the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. You are not nice as pie, ma'am. Don't want to take sides, but Margaret has no room to talk about spilling anything. Miss Tommy Tippy. All that went out the window because I spilled. I will have you know, you guys, before we go, this is just a little brief intermission, so to speak. You know how Margaret always says that she never spilled or anything like that, never dropped things, never spilled nothing, never fell under appliances or any of that until she met the Crime Cafe, right? Till she started hanging out at the Crime Cafe. So it's our fault, right? However, I will have you know that this weekend we were on a mod chat, and her husband, that we lovingly call our Jeffrey, we heard from him. Yeah. We found out from Jeffrey that she has always spilled and dropped things and fell under appliances. So, it is not our fault. It is not our fault. Literally, he said, no, she's always done it. Always. And Margaret's face just went. And then she turned her camera off. I was like, we see how you are. We see how you are. There, she says, I left. It was pretty hilarious. It was pretty hilarious. Oh, and then she spilled champagne on her husband's laptop. Yeah. At the same time. So. Okay, here we go. This dude, again, his name is, what is his first name? I can't remember. He says what his name is, but never a truer word. Full credit goes to this dude. He's brilliant. I think he's brilliant.
Suspicion often falls on the parents. Now that's...
Plus, he has a great accent.
When someone goes missing, suspicion often falls on the last person to see them. When children go missing, suspicion often falls on the parents. Now, that suspicion is often unjustified and wrong. So let me guide you into looking at how that person talks to see if they're a desperately worried person or hiding something. So you'll know how to listen to
I did it to the woods, road, and
something. Married person or hiding something. So you'll know how to listen to and how to decode something like this.
as soon as I seen they were missing, I jumped right in the vehicle, and I did every dirt road and searched every culvert. The very first day I wasn't around very much because I was just searching. I was running through the woods, screaming their name till my throat hurt.
Welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing.
So did you hear that right then? Hold on, let me rewind it.
And I did every dirt road and searched every culvert. The very first day I wasn't around very much because I was just searching. I was running through the woods, screaming their name till my throat hurt.
Welcome
Screaming their name till my throat hurt. Screaming their name till my throat hurt.
to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth,
Jack.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And what I do here is different from anywhere else. I strip
That's his name. Just Jack. Sorry.
away everything apart from the words that are said, and then use my process of statement investigation to give you the key to seeing possible deception, possibly where the truth is, and also the motivations of the person talking. Now, at the time of recording in Nova Scotia, Canada, 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan are missing. I've done an episode looking at the only interview their mom gave, and I had some concerns on the back of that. I'll go through those concerns again here as we look at the stepfather, Daniel Martell. He has spoken a lot more, as we'll see, and it's him speaking that we're going to analyse in this episode. Just like I did last time, as it is a parent of a missing child, what I'm going to do is look at what the concern is. What are they concerned about? Where's Dan's focus? What is he focusing on? And concepts that he repeats when he talks, because that will show us what is going on inside him.
So this dude, like, he does break down everything that they say, like sentence by sentence, word to word. And like he says here, concerned, focus, and repeated concepts. So he kind of looks at things that he, what their concerns are, what their focus is, and what they repeat, or concepts that they repeat over and over. And he uses those answers to kind of point him in a direction. Now, I don't know, but, you know, a lot of times people lean heavily. I know that you can't, like, put all of your eggs in a basket of, like, behavior analysis. And certainly you can't do that in this situation either with what people say with their words. But you know, investigators do. Investigators use what people say and people's, you know, physical behavior. So I kind of feel like that there is some validity in that, you know? Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to do that. I skipped way too far ahead. There we go. Here we go. This is where we are.
What the concern is, what are they concerned about? Where's Dan's focus? What is he focusing on? And concepts that he repeats when he talks, because that will show us what is going on inside his head, what is high priority for him, which is coming out in his words. So let's have a look and listen to the words of Daniel Martell.
The last few days have been very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning, when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there.
A very short clip of Dan to start off with there. He said the last few days have been very stressful. That's the first thing he mentions. And what I'm taken by immediately is his focus on himself, the stress that has been on him. Now, generally, people like to tell the truth. I believe here that we have this guy telling the truth. The last few days have been very stressful, but he doesn't say why they've been stressful. He goes on to talk about the search. Has the search been stressful? But certainly no concern voiced for the children. It's been very stressful, worrying about those two kids. He says, I mean, ever since Friday morning, now Dan stutters and repeats himself a lot. I think it's his sort of natural way of talking. Stuttering can indicate stress, and he is saying there he is stressful. But I do think that there is some stuttering that is in his way of talking, maybe a low confidence way of talking. So ever since Friday morning, when we noticed the children were gone. Now, this phrase is interesting here. When we noticed the children were gone.
So he's talking about the we, and he talks a lot about the pronouns, because sometimes he'll use the word we and sometimes he uses the word I. And that to me matters, because if you go back to the Madeline Soto case with Jen Soto, the mom, and Stephen Stearns, in their interviews, Jen used words like we went to look, we got in the car and went to, here and there, and sometimes she would use I or we. And you would think, in a situation, you would look at it and be like, well, I don't know, sometimes I use I or we, but in that situation, if you were in a car by yourself going to look for someone, you wouldn't say we went and looked for our kids. You would say I went and looked for our kids. I was in my car. I went, not we. We didn't go. I went. And so whenever he goes back and forth with the we and I, that sort of gives me a little bit of pause,
I said when I looked at the mom that she was telling the story very much from the point of view of we. She spoke about what we did and we noticed a lot rather than telling it from her point of view. When I noticed things, she used we a hell of a lot more, and we have a similar thing here. It wasn't that one of these people, wasn't Dan or it wasn't the mom that noticed the children were gone. It was we. It was the pair of us noticed that the children were gone. And noticed is interesting. That's almost casual. Oh, I noticed you've got a new dress. I noticed you've painted the wall. It's like an observation rather than realized, hit us. It's just very casual in terms of.
Okay, talking about the word noticed. We noticed the kids were gone. The children were gone. And I never thought about that till I heard him say that. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I know that some, some folks in Canada use different, like we hear it all the time, right? We hear things that, there's another phrase that the mom uses in the interview. She says something about the kids being good looking kids. And I heard someone say, why does she say good looking kids? And that, it's just felt weird, and I was like, I think that some people use that phrase, I don't think it's uncommon in other parts of the world, right? But when he says that they noticed that the kids were gone, it does seem very kind of casual, I don't know how to feel about that part.
Of noticing that children have gone rather than realizing that the children have gone, rather than it being a little bit more immediate. They sort of casually noticed the children were gone. He says then immediately jumped into the vehicle. Now, what I spotted from the mom was she talked about instantly calling 911, instantly going searching, and she was very keen, in her words, to tell us how fast they reacted. She could just tell us how they reacted. That would be absolutely fine. I felt she had a need to persuade us how fast these guys reacted as soon as they saw the children were gone. Now, that made me think, did they really move that fast? Does she have a need to persuade and convince us that they moved fast? And I have the same thing here from him. As soon as he noticed the children were gone, I immediately jumped in the vehicle. Now, doesn't make loads of sense, actually, when you think about the use of that word immediately, because as soon as we noticed the children were gone, and he's going to say this at other points in the words we look at, he searched around places they could be around the house first, and then jumped in the vehicle. And that's what you would expect, isn't it? You know, you wouldn't see the children have gone and immediately jump in a car without checking the immediate vicinity. But that's not what he says in his words there. And I think that's because he also has this...
Okay, Brenda. Have a good day, honey. Thanks for joining.
need to persuade us how quickly they acted. I'm not sure they acted that quick. I think there is a delay between the children going missing or them noticing the children have gone missing and any actions that they took. He also has dropped a pronoun. He doesn't say, I immediately jumped in the vehicle, which would be ownership of the action. When we say I, my, me, we really own and commit ourselves to the words that we are using. He doesn't say I there at all. He just says immediately jumped in the vehicle. So I don't think he immediately jumped in the vehicle. Saying rather than searching in his own word, and for himself and not for the children there, by talking about...
Hold on, I'm going to skip to the next little part.
How stressful the last few days have been. Let's have a listen to a little bit more now of Dan talking.
We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can. And just until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist. And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back.
Now, did you hear him again say screaming till his throat hurt? That's the second time that he's mentioned that. The first time he said it, he said screaming their name until my throat hurt. And then this interview, he says screaming so hard until my throat hurt or something like that. So that was mentioned 2 different times in 2 different places.
Back in the woods until a man dressed in a military outfit said I could go back into the woods.
So he starts off there by talking about we again. We were searching. Now, this is not a follow-on from the interview that we've just seen. I don't think so. While in the first clip, he was talking about what he did. Here, he's talking about we, but he's talking about we were searching. Nothing suspicious about that. It's just, again, it's a story from the point of view of we. And he does mention searching here, which is good. So we were searching. We covered everywhere possible is the next thing that he said. Now, this is an absolute. We covered everywhere possible. Now, that does sound very wide-ranging. We covered everywhere. But then it's qualified a little bit by saying possible. So what does possible mean there? It's kind of convincing us with the use of the word everywhere that this search was very extensive. And then it's qualified with possible, and we don't know how wide that was now because it's been qualified by the word possible. He says, even in the first day, even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Now, even in the first day is how he starts off that segment there. Again, this feels to me like he is talking about immediacy, quick action. And again, as we go through what we listen to from Daniel, he's very keen to say that from day one, he was searching. Why is that? Why is it important for him to say that? Why is it important for him to get that out in his words? Once again, he's showing a...
So, for me personally, in my opinion, the reason why I think the immediacy, him like wanting to put it into everyone's head that they immediately started looking is because they didn't immediately start looking. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know that... I don't think that you would need to feel the possibility. I don't think that you would need to push that into everybody's head that you did everything immediately. You immediately got in the car. You ran everywhere as fast as possible. You blah, 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 blah. You did this. Unless you were feeling guilt, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Or like if you told the truth, what the actual facts were, that people would side-eye you because you didn't, but then again, it could be guilt. Is it guilt that one, they did something, or guilt that they didn't get up with the kids and the kids snuck out of the house. I don't know. Brenda's headed to the post office. Woohoo!
Sort of concern for self. This is almost like a resume statement. Look what a great guy I am. I've been searching since day one. I've been doing a lot of searching there. I'm not saying it's not true. What I'm saying is I'm interested in why he feels the need to tell us this, to tell us about his actions. We still haven't had any concern for the children verbalized. You could say that the fact he's talking about searching is interesting, that he is showing concern through the search, but he's not verbalizing concern for the kids. And you'll notice as well that he's not saying what he was searching for. He hasn't added the children into that. We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Doesn't say what he is looking for. Then we have that, even in the first day. And then he talks about, even with me running through the woods. I'm interested. If you're searching for something, is running the best way to search?
Right.
Running is the best way to cover a lot of ground and to look active and even to be active. But is running the best way to search for two small children? Or is this, again, a need in language to show how active he has been, to get across to us just how much damn work that he has done? And he talks about running through the woods, and woods will come up a lot with this guy. Why is that? Woods are obviously very important to him. That's what we can tell by words that people use a lot. We'll see him talk about woods a lot.
So that was pretty significant to me too, when he said that, about where Daniel says, even in the first day, we did, even with me running through the woods, so like Jack says here, it's, you wouldn't necessarily be running through the woods if you're looking for two small children who are potentially hiding or hurt or fell into something somewhere, we means two people, right? Lean baby. True. We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. We did, even with me running through the woods. And see how he says, even in the first day, we did, even with me running through the woods. I was ahead of the helicopters, screaming as loud as I can until my throat hurt. But then he was using we before that, It's kind of wishy-washy, huh?
Or is he convinced that these children are in the woods? We don't know right now, but he does say woods at all. And then he talks about I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. He talks about I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones. Now, earlier it was we were searching, we covered everywhere. Again, possible that we were searching and they split off, but also possible then that he was ahead of the helicopters and the drones. But certainly this is now actions on him alone. And again, talking about being ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones is, again, this need for him to persuade us or communicate to us or tell us how hard he was working, how fast he was with things, which is a concept that he really wants us to connect to us on. He was working on the first day. He immediately jumped in his truck. He was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones. And these things in the sky, helicopters and drones and search instruments, are very important to him. They come out in his words a lot more, as we will see. Then he talks about screaming as loud as I can until my throat hurt. There's dropped pronouns here. He doesn't say I was screaming. He says screaming as loud as I can. So now he comes into it there, until my throat hurt. Again, we've got ownership of that. Screaming. Now, screaming what? He doesn't say. Very much like searching for what? He doesn't say. And he doesn't say here why he was screaming or what he was screaming. He just says screaming loud as I can. Now, screaming is a word that can be quite horrific, that people scream when they are frightened, when they are scared, when they are being attacked. So it's quite a almost violent sort of word, screaming, isn't it? And also, this is a word about noise. And I noticed that in the mom's interview, she talked about noise and sound a lot, about how she could hear the children, then she couldn't hear the children. She couldn't hear the door open that she thinks the children went out of. And she also said the children would talk lots. There was lots in the mom about the sound. And here we have again from Daniel, more talk of sound. Screaming loud as I can until my throat hurt. Why is he telling us his throat hurt? Worried here because again, we've got this concept of concern for self. These children are missing. They are very young children, 6 years old and 4 years old. And yet he's concerned about his throat hurting. Why is throat hurting something that he wants to tell us? We'll come on to that as he mentions it again. He then said, I was running through the water that was up to my waist. And as soon
Oh, he brings up a really good point right here, too. Running through water that was up to my waist. Listen to what he says here. This is interesting. See what you guys think.
As soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed into the woods until a man dressed in military outfit said I could go back into the woods. We have running again, running through water that was up to my waist. That's not really possible. You wade slowly through water that is up to your waist. So what is the concept that he's trying to get across here? Again, is this to show how active, how fast he was moving with all of this? It seems really important for him to get across to us how fast this guy was moving. Running through water. We have mention of water again from Daniel there. I know it was raining, so water in some ways would be natural to be about, but he feels the need to tell us he was running through water that was up to his waist. Again, is this potentially constructed to, well, it should be constructed because you can't run through water that's up to your waist. You can try, but you can't.
Very interesting that he brought that up. I like that.
As soon as I seen they were missing, I jumped right in the vehicle and I did every dirt road and searched every culvert. The very first day I wasn't around very much because I was just searching. I was running through the woods, screaming their name till my throat hurt.
Okay, familiar concepts coming up here from the guy. As soon as I seen they were missing, I jumped right in my vehicle. I did every dirt road and searched every culvert. So this is a different interview from the one we've looked at before. So I'm fine with the fact that he's repeating himself because he's telling the same story to a different person. But it's interesting about the concepts that he is repeating here. Nothing about worry or concern for the kids is coming through in the things that he's repeating. What we get is, as soon as I seen they were missing. So again, we've got this immediacy, this need for him to tell us that he moved quickly, he reacted quickly. As soon as I seen they were missing, that again, not realized, not got the fright of my life or anything like that. It's I saw they were missing. Now, that really, I saw they were missing would only work if you thought they were in one place and were convinced they were in one place and then they weren't there. When they, in their telling of the story, these guys, the children got out and went out to play outside, and at that point they disappeared. So seeing they were missing doesn't really hold up there as a word description. It would more be realized they were missing that was there. I jumped right in the vehicle, so again,
Yeah, because according to him, he didn't know where, he didn't know whether they were in their bedroom. At some point, he said that he thought that he heard them in the kitchen. So to say that as soon as I saw they were missing, then that means, like he said, you would have to know where they were at, to say I saw they were missing. The last time I saw them, they were in the kitchen. But when I went back in the kitchen, I saw they were missing. That would be one thing, right? But some of the words just sound a little bit. Cherie said, I think he's trying to hide something. Ween Baby said, me too. He had to make sure they were hidden, and the waist deep water mention is interesting. Yeah. He mentions water a lot. So, Now I do know that they've had search divers teams out there, you know, and so far they haven't found anything. But I do know that the RCMP, they say that they believe that the children are no longer alive. I mean, anything's possible, right? But according to them, they don't believe so. So, I want to get to, okay, here we go. About right here.
It says, I was running through the woods, so we have the mention of the woods again, and then once more screaming their name until my throat hurt. So, again, he doesn't use I on screaming. He doesn't say I was screaming their name, which would be ownership and showing that he is committed to talking about himself doing it. It's not done with I, it's screaming their name. Now, this time we do have what he was screaming, but we do have that mention of screaming again, so we've got another sound word going on there. Screaming their name until my throat hurt. So that's twice in two different interviews he's mentioned screaming and hurting throats. Both of those imageries are in his head, screaming and hurting throats. And in my opinion, in my thoughts, those are not, screaming and sore throats are not reassuring words to hear from the last person to see children alive at the moment. And I hope I'm really wrong on that one, but I do not like screaming and throat hurting. Twice now he's done it. I do not like them coming from someone who is talking about being searching for these children. I could be wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong, but I do not like those words there. So
All right. So that is what I heard. I heard him say that he didn't like those two words together. And when he said that, I remembered something that I saw the night before. And I'm going to show you what I saw the night before. Okay? I'm going to show you what I saw the night before. For any of those of you who have been following this case, you may have already seen this, what I'm getting ready to show. But maybe for those of you that have not, I'm glad that I saw it, because now whenever he said this about not liking the screaming and the throat hurting, I kind of like something clicked and I was like, oh. So let me pull this up. Where did it go? Oh, daggone it. I've lost it. Where did it go? Shoot. I had it up and I must have gotten rid of it. Let me go look. Let me find it. Oh, daggone it. Where was that? I think it was on... Okay, I know where it was at. Let me go find it. Evil exists.
The stepfather and mother of Lilly and Jack Sullivan is being heavily scrutinized by the public.
Okay, videos. Okay, here it is. found it. This guy has a ton of videos on this case. I'll say that. He's got a ton of videos on this case. Let me copy this. Post this. Hey, Michelle. Nothing that I've heard of today. I've been looking for updates today, and I haven't seen anything. But, yeah, I'm sharing this Never a Truer Word posted this video that I've been showing quite a few days ago. And there was something inside this video that he literally just said that made me think the other day of something that I saw, another video, and I kind of put two and two together and was like, hold on, let me put this video source up. Evil exists. Okay. Now, what I'm getting ready to show right now is this video that I saw from a YouTube creator named Evil Exists. And like I said, you might want to check him out because he's got a lot of videos on this. I don't know, Michelle. I don't know. But there is this video, okay? Jack, it was apparently Jack's 2nd birthday. So this would have been a couple years ago. And this was a home video that was found on Mom's Facebook page. And it's Jack's birthday, but Lilly is very excitable, I guess you could say. So I don't know if she, because she screams in this video. And when she screams, I don't know if it's because she's excited, or 2, if it's because they're singing happy birthday and she doesn't like it and she wants them to stop. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, my kiddo, my big kiddo, not my little kiddo. My little kiddo loves it, but my big kiddo, my one with autism, he has never, ever liked birthday parties. He don't mind the cake and he don't mind seeing the people, but he doesn't like noise and he doesn't like when people sing happy birthday, whether it's to him or in his vicinity. So we've learned over the years that when we're going to sing happy birthday to someone, we have to exit him from the room because he'll flip his whole wig, right? So, anyway, I don't know if that's what's going on with Lilly in this video that I'm getting ready to show, or if she's just excited. Either way, I'm going to turn the volume down because it's very loud and ear-piercing. So if you have headphones on or AirPods or earbuds or any of the sort, you might want to be prepared. Okay, but when I play this, you hear she's standing up in a chair closest to the camera, and Daniel, the stepdad, is across from her, across the kitchen table. Watch him when she starts screaming. Turn the volume way down low. Okay, here we go.
Lilly and Jack Sullivan are still missing, and their father, the page, in cases each was now discussed.
Okay, here we go.
I won't say more. Take a look for yourself.
Liam, come sing. I got him.
Okay. So I told you it was loud, and I had the volume all the way down. But did you see his face? Did you see stepdad's face? In case you missed it, I'll turn the volume all the way down. Like, I'll mute it, but you can tell that she's screaming. But just watch his face, okay? So I'm going to mute it so we don't have to hear that again. But let's watch his face. So this channel, Evil Exists, he actually plays it twice back to back, I think. So here we go. Okay, so it started over. I've got it muted. And Lily instantly starts screaming as soon as they start singing Happy Birthday. I don't know if it'll let me zoom. Will it let me zoom? I don't think it will. Can you guys tell me if I can zoom it? I don't think I can zoom it. Right there is where he starts, where she starts. Look at his face. It kind of looks like he has a little bit of a smile, but also kind of a, like, I can't believe I'm hearing what I'm hearing smile, you know? So, I don't know how to take that. But, the reason that I connected those two together, obviously, he says more than once that he screamed until his throat hurt, okay? He screamed there, and then another time he said he screamed so loud his throat hurt, and then another time he said that he screamed their names until his throat hurt, and yeah, irritated, yeah, kind of like a smiled but irritated look, and he was just staring at her like, but. Is it out of the realm of, like, you know, possibility that if stepdad did have something to do with it, could it have been a situation like that? And I've heard them say there's another dude that I like to watch. His name is Deception Detective. Have you guys ever heard of him or seen him? He does a lot of stuff on Sebastian Rogers too. But he's been doing a lot of work on this case as well. And he says that the phrase that he uses whenever folks that have done something wrong, like in a situation where parents may have done something to their kids, he calls it leakage or leaking whenever they say things like, for instance, I'll give you a for instance. In the situation of Sebastian Rogers, he says, Deception Detective says that he calls it leakage when Katie or Chris Proudfoot, Sebastian's mom and stepdad, say things about dirt or the ground or being buried or like one thing I know that he kept saying a lot was one time Katie was asked in an interview what would you do if Sebastian were to walk through the door right now? And she said that I would, what word did she use? Run over him like a, how did she say that? Run him over like a, some sort of machinery. I can't remember what phrase was that she used. Can anybody help me out? It's something like backhoe, but that's not the right word. It's not backhoe. Or dump truck. It was something like that, but bulldozer. That's what she said. I bulldoze him, you know. And she says they say a lot of things like that. And so Deception Detective says that could be, you know, a form of leaking or leakage, based on what could have happened, allegedly, speculatively. But is that the same situation with this? Would that, the screaming until my throat hurt, be some sort of leaking or leakage? You know what I'm saying? And again, I want to say, I hope and pray that mom and stepdad are completely innocent. And I hope that they're proven to be innocent of anything, you know. And I hope these kiddos are found safe and sound. Statistically, it don't look good. You know what I mean? Statistically speaking, it doesn't look good. I don't know what the percentage is. I've seen, Michelle says, I think we don't know the whole story. Exactly. We don't know the whole story. No. No, we don't. And I would like to know more about why mom left. I mean, I know that mom apparently, according to Daniel, he says that his mom ran them off, her and probably her family, and made them leave the property. That's what he said in one of the interviews we watched earlier, was that his mom made them leave. So, but I would like to know more about why they think he had something to do with it, you know, because that's apparently why she left, is because she felt like he had something to do with it. Now, he says he wants lie detector tests for all of them, for everybody. He says he'll take a lie detector test, but that he wants everybody else to too. So, I don't know. Let me go over real quick and see if Deception Detective has done any recent videos. Deception Detective. He does a lot of videos on, like I said, Sebastian Rogers, and he does a lot on John Benet Ramsey too. Videos. Hold on. He's done quite a few. Let me see this one. This one is called I Hope I'm Wrong. It says I hope I'm wrong. Okay. Here we go. Play part of this one. Now, this is the mom again. I don't know how much of her interview is in here, but yeah, if you guys haven't followed Deception Detective, go check him out. Here, let me post his Deception Detective. He's great. He's always like quick and down to the, straight to the point. You know what I mean? I really like him. Let me pull this over here. We'll hit the play button. Here we go.
I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time.
That's Malaya Brooks Murray talking about her missing children. And for
Okay, so first of all, like the mom, and it may just be the way the mom talks in general. I don't know, okay? But I just feel like in this interview, it was like, and I've seen this before. I saw this before with other people, especially Sebastian Rogers. Ween Baby, I said that earlier. She says, I don't believe that. I've never heard a quiet sliding door. First of all, most of the time, sliding doors are not quiet. First of all. Second of all, you can probably just about 99% guarantee that a sliding glass door inside of an ancient mobile home is certainly not going to be quiet. Yeah, and they were sleeping. Yeah. She says they were sleeping, but she also says that they were in and out of sleep. And she also says that they were feeding the baby. So, I don't know. But, the way she talks, though, it's like almost like she's got bullet points that she's like, check, 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 check. You know. It very much puts me in the mind of some of the things that I heard the Proudfoots say about Sebastian's when he had disappeared, their first interviews, and then also Jennifer Soto when she's doing the interview. Oh, thank you, Kel. Thank you, Kel. I didn't notice that. All right, here we go. I'm going to rewind it back and we're going to watch this again. The mom's part. Oh, shoot. What happened? What happened?
I want them home.
Okay, there we go. My computer was acting stupid for a minute.
Home. I want to hold them. And I want them home.
Thanks, Gail.
What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time.
that's Malaya Brooks Murray talking about her missing children. And for someone who doesn't know what
She says they were outside playing, but they weren't aware of it at the time. So how do you know they were outside playing if you weren't aware of it? That doesn't make any sense. If you were asleep and you're assuming they went out the sliding glass door, how do you know they were out there playing? Like, how do you know somebody didn't just jerk them up out of the house and run off with them? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you say that? And you never heard the door, right? One more time. I'm sorry. I got to hear this one more time.
And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us.
She woke up, heard them playing in the next room beside them. Okay.
And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them.
So they were drifting out of sleep. They're not the kind of kids that'll go outside without them.
Watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens.
It's convenient that you can't hear it when it opens because they slipped out. I'm just saying. I don't believe that you can't hear that door.
And they were outside playing, but...
So how do you know they were outside playing? They haven't said anything about having any, like, Ring camera or anything on the house. That's not been brought out at all. So I don't believe that they did. Now, they did say, allegedly, that the Daniel, the stepdad's mom, who lives on the property somewhere in, like, a camper or something, that she, you know, said that she either heard them or saw them playing, but I don't know that that's been, like, confirmed that she said that, you know.
We weren't aware of it at the time.
That's Malaya Brooks Murray talking about her missing children. And for someone who doesn't know what happened, she seems to know a lot about what happened. So in today's video, let's watch her interview and see if we can spot any guilty knowledge. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you're not familiar with this case, don't worry because it's brand new. I only know about it because my lovely subscribers have asked me to cover it. So before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing, here's a quick recap.
The search for two missing children in rural Pictou County is now into its 5th day, and there's still no sign of 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan. The siblings went missing last Friday morning when it's believed they strayed from their home in Lansdowne Station. CBC's Preston Mulligan joins us now live from the search area with the latest on the efforts. Preston.
Good evening, Tom. Well, as you said, yes, as we near the end of day 5 in the search for these two young children, sadly, there is still no good news report. The RCMP held a news conference a couple hours ago to give us an update. Basically, there's not much else to say other than the search for Lilly and her brother Jack continues here and around these woods and these deep woods in the Lansdowne area. Now, RCMP Search and Rescue are still working under the assumption that the 4- and 6-year-old wandered away from the home in Lansdowne, just south of New Glasgow on Friday morning. Today, some of the family members walked me through into that wooded area directly adjacent to where they live, maybe 20-second walk from the home into the woods. And as you walk into the woods, there's a little, kind of a tree fort, a little lean-to, and that's where the kids would play. And the family around there say they find it very hard to believe that given how thick the brush is on some of the steep banks around that area, and just the difficulty moving around if you sort of leave that trail, how difficult they find it to believe that they could have gone anywhere deeper than that into the woods.
No idea. I had no idea. I'm still searching every day. I'm waiting for information. I have to let them do a lot of their stuff with the aircrafts and everything else.
Okay, so that's the rundown. 2 toddlers disappear from their home in rural Canada, and that last voice you heard there was their stepfather. Which brings me to one final thing I want to go over before we start analyzing Malaya, and that's how I set my baseline whenever I start analyzing a brand new case. If you've been here for a while, you'll know that I'm a big proponent of Bayesian reasoning. In other words, our baseline is set at the statistically most likely scenario. In the case of missing children, one of the most likely scenarios is that they wandered off and got lost. So any evidence that suggests that theory will weigh heavily right away. But any evidence of something less likely, like a stranger kidnapping or a UFO abduction, will be really hesitant to weigh that evidence very heavily unless it's amazingly convincing evidence. And I know it might sound biased or unscientific, but it's actually one of the best frameworks for making predictions. And based on statistics about missing children, the exacerbating factor of a stepfather rather than a biological father in the home, and the strange statements this mother's making, I'm going into this already suspecting that the children probably wandered off. It might be worse, but I'm going to say probably wandered off, and that they might be lying about it because they were drugged up or neglectful or something of that ilk. All right, without further ado, let's listen.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time.
We're off to a bad start, and that's because this mother is doing lots of the things that we've seen verified hoaxers do on the channel. I've put the Spotting Hoaxes card from the Deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation, on your screen if you want to read all 4, but I'm just going to point out 2 of them right now. First, she's conclusive about how the children left the house, when if her story were true, that they were in and out of sleep, and you can't hear whether or not that door is being opened or closed, she wouldn't be able to know that. She also said that the kids were outside playing. Maybe she's guessing about that stuff or suspects it, but there's no way to state it this conclusively. Unless, of course, she made up that story in her own head. Second, her story is vague. What does drifting in and out of sleep mean? What noises exactly did she hear which let her know that the children were playing in the other room? She didn't even say what the kids' names are. And this is yet another sign of a hoaxer, because hoaxers, especially when they have a co-conspirator, like I think her boyfriend might be, if they actually have guilty knowledge, have to line up their stories over time with themselves and with each other. So the more concrete details they give, the more opportunity for people to catch them in their lies. Or if they're just low IQ, like many of the hoaxers we've analyzed on the channel, they never even think of those details in the first place. All right, let's keep listening, but to be clear, our baseline still hasn't changed.
They happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911.
Okay, so I had to stop right there for just a quick second because, if you had just heard them, right? And then you don't hear them anymore. And you're like, you go out to check on them. Someone mentioned a while ago they couldn't have gotten very far, right? They're 2 small kids. They couldn't have gotten very far. Now, unless they got down to the end of the driveway to the road and somebody picked them up. But the law enforcement says that they don't believe that's what's happened. They don't have anything to show that. So, Kel says, have they said if they've gotten out before? I haven't heard that they have. She actually just says also that they know not to go outside without them. They used search dogs, I think, but I don't know if they've used cadaver dogs, Ween Baby. I don't know if they've done that yet. I'm sure they have, but I'm not positive. Not positive.
I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to...
That's where she says they're both really good-looking children. And here I kind of feel like she's maybe giving the narrative that it would have been easy for someone to take them, because they're good looking kids and they'll talk to anybody.
To anyone, they'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone.
I can see why so many of my subscribers commented for me to analyze this case, because we're about to have a royal flush of deception deck cards here. So let's just go through them one by one. First of all, we have a temporal lacunae, or a jump through time. And liars often use temporal lacunae like suddenly or I just woke up and noticed, because they want to skip over incriminating parts of their story. Second, we have changing tenses. You may have noticed that she started off telling her story in past tense, as we can expect when someone's recounting something that happened in the past. But as she told her story, all of a sudden she switched into present tense. And this can happen when people are constructing a story in real time or reconstructing a made-up story in real time, rather than recounting actual memories. Finally, we have explanations, and liars often give unnecessary explanations because they know they're lying, so they don't take their believability for granted. And
so you heard go lucky? Maybe that is what she said, and I thought that she said good looking. Let me go back. Hold on.
It up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone.
Okay, maybe.
They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone.
I can see why so many of my subscribers commented for me to analyze this case, because we're about to have a royal flush of deception deck cards here. So let's just go through them one by one. First of all, we have a temporal lacunae, or a jump through time. And liars often use temporal lacunae like suddenly or I just woke up and noticed, because they want to skip over incriminating parts of their story. Second, we have changing tenses. You may have noticed that she started off telling her story in past tense, as we can expect when someone's recounting something that happened in the past. But as she told her story, all of a sudden she switched into present tense.
Awesome.
And this can happen when people are constructing a story in real time or reconstructing a made-up story in real time, rather than recounting actual memories. Finally, we have explanations, and liars often give unnecessary explanations because they know they're lying, so they don't take their believability for granted. In this case, she felt the need to tell us why she called the police, as if her kids being missing wasn't a good enough reason. But beyond the red flags in the deception deck, I don't like some of the other things she's doing here. For instance, she's setting up her and her boyfriend's alibi by telling us that they must have been sleeping at the time. But if she was sleeping, how could she possibly know that he was also sleeping? Couldn't he have been awake and done something to them while she was passed out? She never seems to consider that as an option at all. And this lack of curiosity or suspicion about a non-biologically related father in the household with their children could be explained a lot of ways, but one of those ways could be that she actually knows what happened, so she's not.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, hold on. I got to give C. Morales a little bit of sparkle here. Hold on just a minute. Hold on just a minute. Where is it? Where is it? Where's my sparkle at? There it is. Here we go. Cute. Thank you, C. Morales. I love those membership milestone chats. Those poor kids, so sad. I'm skeptical of the stepdad and not sure of the mom. I can't imagine being in their situation. Yeah. I don't know. I want to think positively of the mom and dad. I mean, they're innocent until they've been proven guilty of anything, obviously, right? But then I always go back to, what is that? Occam's razor, I don't know the exact definition, but it's basically whatever the simplest explanation is usually what it is. You know what I mean? But you look at, like, statistically too, you know, what the statistic is. The statistic is pretty high whenever a kid goes missing. It's usually, you know, the parent or a family member or someone close to them that knows them. Simplest is it, right? And that's how I feel about the Sebastian Rogers case too. I seriously feel like something is not right in that household. Well, we know that things weren't right in the household, but anyway, Cherie says, I think she knows what really happened. She may very well. She may very well. I don't know.
I'm curious about what he may have done. Finally, I don't like how she's leaving all those little breadcrumbs to sort of suggest or imply to us that the kids must have been kidnapped or gone off with a stranger.
Exactly.
By telling us how talkative they are and all that sort of stuff. It's unnecessary, and it's pretty blatant if that's what she's doing. All right, let's keep watching.
They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware, someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe
I know that as far as the Amber Alert situation goes, they can't just willy-nilly issue Amber Alerts. I mean, I know that it would be nice, but they have to have certain, you know, they have to meet certain requirements in order for an Amber Alert to be issued. And the cops didn't have, you know, I mean, they have to believe that it was an abduction, not that they just took off by themselves or whatever, you know. So, and the police doesn't feel like it was an abduction, so.
we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
That's the end of the interview. So where are we at right now? Well, we have a mother making statements that sound deceptive and sound like she's trying to cover up some sort of neglect, possibly alcohol or drug use. We have a father who's a non-biological father, a stepfather, and we have two missing children who we've just learned might have autism. Unfortunately, all three are exacerbating factors in child abuse and neglect, and we've seen them in multiple cases we've analyzed on the channel. So if I'm betting right now, I'm betting that the children wandered off while the parents were getting stoned or high. Of course, that will evolve as we analyze more statements. If you want me to analyze the stepfather's interview, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing. Until next.
Now, he does do he does do an analyze video, an what would that word be? He analyzes the stepdad's interviews in another video. But Kel said she knows. Michelle said, I think they are deceased and she knows it. Her word choice is like warm, have them in their beds. Yeah, I thought that too. Weird, right? Well, like I said, the RCMP believe that they're deceased. But I wonder if they've had cadaver dogs out yet. You know? I don't know. And I think that someone said that they had to... There was something else he said about how he didn't like whenever parents would have to, like, drive a distance either before or right after calling 911, because that to him is, you know, a thought that, ooh, maybe they're getting rid of something or someone, you know. And I think that they have said that they didn't have service where they were at. So I don't know. Sharice is out here. The parents get the kids fingerprinted and they get a special tag that are hidden. Oh, wow. Well, you guys, I don't know. Stephen Stearns vibes. Oof. Eesh. Ich. Right? Ich. Well, I wanted to keep this short today. It is 4:15, and kiddo just got home a little bit ago from school, so I'm going to go see what she's doing and how her day was. We have one more week of school left, and we are out for summer break. Out for summer break. Anyway, so... But I'm going to get out of here, go see what the family's doing. Maybe hop outside for a little bit before, you know, it gets to be dinner time. Disposal, at least. I sure hope not. I sure hope not. I mean, it's a bad situation, you know? Not a good situation. I would love to know where the mom is. I would love to hear from her. Like, I would love for someone to get another interview with her. And I hope that the stepdad keeps talking, because if he is guilty of anything, it'll eventually, you know, he'll circle himself in, you know what I mean? Oh, you did that with your daughter? Yeah, I think they've done that for quite a few years. I can't remember what it's called, though. Where they do the fingerprint and the tag thing. But I will keep my eyes peeled for more, you know, updates on this case. Yeah, slip up for sure. Yeah, he'll like talk himself back into a corner, and then, you know, if he's guilty, like I said, he may not be guilty of anything other than, you know, being negligent. If that's the case, I don't know. But I mean, we all know as parents, accidents happen, things happen, right? Things can happen, but Plunder has been on this too. She's got a lot of the audio, a lot of the radio traffic audio. She's gotten a lot of that. And she's even done a lot of the dubbing some of the the French Canadian news outlets into English. So, which has been kind of good. Excuse me. But yeah, I want to keep my eye on it and see what happens with this going further, and hope and pray for answers that these little kiddos are found. And right. As far as tomorrow goes, I'm not sure what we'll do tomorrow. Remember, Wednesday, I will not be streaming because it's kiddos' kindergarten graduation. So, yeah, we'll be busy on Wednesday. But tomorrow, we'll see. We'll see what we have on tap for tomorrow. If there's anything interesting going on in the Karen Reed trial, maybe I'll stream something. But if it's more of what we had today in the last few days, no, I'm not interested. So, someone will break their silence eventually. I hope so. If anyone does know what happened to those kiddos, I hope that their silence is broken for sure. For sure. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and thanks for letting me go a little off topic again today. You know, I enjoyed it. I've been wanting to talk about these sweet kiddos, and I've been wanting to talk about, Koberger and other things. So if you missed the members only live stream that we did over the weekend, it was great. It was great. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here, but I'll see you back tomorrow. I hope you have a great night. And, yeah, make sure to hit that thumbs up before you leave. And subscribe if you're new. I hope that you guys check the links that I put in the chat for all these folks with their great video sources and stuff. So, I know, Cherie. Can't believe she's going to be a first grader. Gosh. Yeah. Missed you too, Michelle. Missed you. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.